Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Ladies, understand something. The top end of a woman's weight is 145 pounds. Okay. My mother's 5'9", and she was 145 pounds until she was 50. That's the top end of your weight, because there should be about a 40-pound difference between you and men.
Basically, if the guy is rich, what ends up happening is the lawyer contacts the person and be like, hey, you know, your name gonna be all in the paper, so you might as well just settle out of court.
I can recognize talent. Even if I don't agree with the politics, a lot of the politics that was underlying in the show and some of the sentiments he was trying to share, I recognize artistry when an artist is present.
Yes, this is the definition of absolutely cooked. We'll never go back and take a look at her bad decisions and take accountability for any of that.
Because there is powerful people in the industry, somehow there is a different law that applies to them. And I agree with that assessment.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Memorial Day, peoples. Shout outs to the fallen soldiers and the ones that's still alive, man, kicking and breathing and still scratching and crawling. We thank you for your service. If you were here earlier, I want to say thank you for tapping in. Shout out to Desperado. That was a 3-hour show, man. We had a lot to go over. That really got heated. Like I expected it, especially with the circumstances surrounding Derek Grove and the Carmelo Anthony situation. Yeah, it was a lot. If you didn't catch it, spin the block on it. If you got the patience, like I said, that's like a 3-hour stream. My partner had ended up coming on like in like the second half of the whole show, so we extended it. This is a different one though, and I want to give a shout out to my writers, my poets, content creators. You know who you are. I got this video off of Twitter. Now, the footage itself is what, a couple years old. So it doesn't really change the severity of what happened up there. But seeing as how it resurfaced recently, I said, well, why not bring this to the table for discussion? Because a lot of people got different feelings about this. So I'm interested to hear what y'all think about it. It's not a very lengthy one, but yeah, it's going to be a goodie. Shout outs to my man's Robert Brown in the building. Appreciate you for tapping in with us. Let me bring Rob up. Do your thing, brother. Give your intros. Anything you want to plug at the beginning. Sydney just pulled up. This is going to be a goodie. I had the day off. I've been in the laboratory working all day. So let's close the day out in fashion. What's up? What's up? What's up? Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Hello.
What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Happy Memorial Day.
You as well? That's right. Today's a holiday.
Yeah.
Everything's crazy right now. There's so much on the news right now. I've just been on my phone for a lot for the past couple days.
It's hard not to, you know.
I know.
How's the area out there so far with the crash and all that?
It's not too bad. They finally finished clearing out the debris off of the streets. For those of you that didn't see, or the last episode, on I think it was Thursday, a plane crashed in a San Diego neighborhood, and that was my neighborhood. That was like 2 streets down from my house. So I woke up at like 4 a.m. to hearing sirens everywhere, and my street was blocked off, and people were outside looking. Luckily, nothing happened near my house. We were away from where all the debris happened. It went parallel to us rather than like down our street, thank God. But it was literally our street. Like if you look up the reports, it lists our street. And so I had a whole bunch of family members like, oh my God, are you okay? And I'm like, I promise, I know it's our street, but we're fine. They finally cleared up all of the debris on the streets over the weekend. So our main road is back open. We weren't able to get out of our houses for a while. Our internet's still messed up because it knocked down a bunch of the power lines towards the school and the businesses that are down the street. So that's still kind of messed up. But they today started pulling all of those burned cars out of the area. So they're starting to do that cleanup. To be honest, I don't know what they're going to do with that area. I feel like it would be weird for them to just like tear everything down and put new houses in when people passed away in that spot. I feel like that's weird. I think they should turn it into a park, but it is the military, so who knows what they're going to do. I mean, this is a privately owned neighborhood as well. So who knows what they'll do. We definitely know how for-profit people are, but that's beside the point. Yeah, but it's very surreal to see something on the news so pertinent to everything that's happening in society right now, and it literally be a place that I go for a walk at. Like, I know the house. I've walked back past the house. There's a park in between my house and that spot. So it is very weird, like seeing my neighborhood on TV and in the middle of nationwide conversations. But I definitely am very grateful that was not our neighborhood. And it does make me very nervous about future airplanes. Like now, every time I hear planes flying in, I do perk up a little bit. I can't say that I'm anxious about it, but it's definitely in my thought process a lot more. Now I'm very cognizant of airplanes that are coming in nearby. And we are by both airports. We're by the San Diego National Airport, and we're by that little one, which has had 3 plane crashes in the last 10 years or something like that. So it's definitely in my mind more.
Well, I don't know what they're going to do with it, but I hope like they honor the people who were unfortunate in the situation. At least, you know, don't turn it into a graveyard. That's creepy, you know.
And it was like perfectly down the middle of the street too. So, like most of the houses didn't get impacted by the plane itself, to my knowledge, at least from what I saw. But it was pretty much the cars that took the brunt of the damage. Like most people's cars along that entire street were gone, toast, literally. I don't know if some fire got into the home through like ventilation or something, if there was that fire, but I do know that they said people did sustain damage. I know nobody lost their life in the neighborhood, which is a miracle, honestly. If you see the damage, they have a drone footage of the street. It's absolutely a miracle that plane went down the center of the street. I can't really explain it in any other way. Like, God was watching over these families, and like, it's really unfortunate that the plane passengers didn't make it, which is not unusual with plane crashes like this. But the fact that nobody on the ground got hurt is just like, I can't believe it.
Yeah, my condolences to all of them. Rob, what's going on, sir? I like the shirt.
Thank you, bro. Everything good, man. Watching y'all. Seeing what's going on. Trying not to, like, I hate to watch the news. We watch a little bit for the weather, but this is getting crazier and crazier. We went backwards.
Yeah.
I don't feel too bad though, because it's been, if you're a history buff, then you know this is the same old. Everything good though. Happy holiday to everybody. Sydney, I'm glad y'all are right.
I got a video that I want to play for y'all, man. It's like I said, this was a couple of years ago. Somebody that I follow on Twitter reposted and made a comment under it. And I don't know if she's watching or if, like, but the conversation just got stirred back up. Some people are saying, you know, she's a horrible mother. Some people like, you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. I'm just going to play it all the way through, and we're going to go from there. Yeah, this is about to be a little spicy. Some people might be sensitive to this. If you're sensitive, this ain't for you, but hold on a second.
You had your warning, you had your chance. I told you to listen. I told you stop disobeying my rules. I told you being cute ain't shit if you have no education. I told you stop disobeying me. I told you to listen and do as you're supposed to. I told you to do good in school. I told you to do your daily routine, and you yet to even do any of it. And you thought you were disobeying me today, and I was not coming to cut this hair off. You're sadly mistaken, because you thought being pretty was so much better than being educated or listening to your mom, right? Yes, this is what happens when you don't listen to your mom. Do you feel like I abused you? No. Do you feel like this form of discipline was a lot better than any other form of discipline, like physical abuse, that I could have used? Yes. You know I love you, right? Yes. You know I got your back, right? Yes. You know what I'm doing right now is to make you a better person, right? Yes. How many times have I spoken to you about this? A lot of times. How many times have your teachers called me? Multiple times. How many times have you not handed in homework? A few times. Funny that you guys all took it upon yourself, over thousands of people, to pick up the phone and call the police on me. And they didn't come because they know about my kid. And just because you won't do what you have to make sure that your kid is saved.
That's pretty much the gist of it. People were in an outrage. Like, folks were furious, calling it child abuse and everything underneath the sun. So let's just start off the rip with your initial thoughts on the video itself. What did you see? Forget everybody else. How did you feel about it?
Okay. One, while I would not do that to my children, I know that cutting the hair is a punishment and can be effective depending on the reason that you're using it. To me, my biggest issue is, why are you broadcasting this? Why are you broadcasting your minor daughter's life, her discipline, her issues, her school stuff, everything on, what was that, TikTok, for everyone to see? Because now not only can her friends see it, her future employers can see it, her future college can see it, her potential future partners, parents can see it, her friends' parent, like anyone that could possibly have access to TikTok can get a hold of watching this child be humiliated on TikTok. It is one thing to punish your child, and it is another thing to punish your child online in front of everyone, for everyone to see, and then to have the nerve to put the phone in front of the face again and be like, is this abuse? Are you okay with this? How do you feel about this? Tell the internet that this is fine, that you condone this. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, I can't even put words to how, like, if I met her in person, I would not want to be her friend instantly. Like, hearing that, I'd be like, nope, you're not my type of person. Nope, this is not okay. I do not want to be subjected to listening to the, like, children are so much more fragile than people understand. Yes, children are also very, like, they'll bounce back. They grow. Like, kids will develop and become stronger because they go through stuff. But why are you willingly putting them through it? Like, kids already have an issue putting themselves online and embarrassing themselves. And now you have the mother doing it. I could never.
Yeah, that's light. First, I don't believe nothing nobody put on tape, because the girl was calm, and I'm thinking, had it been something that serious, the girl would have been fighting not to get her head cut off. Second, being a teacher, I've seen children whose parents cut their hair off because they ain't listen. In a lot of cases, it didn't even work. They were still cutting up the next weeks. In the soundbite era right now, that's light, because she could have beat her, she could have punched on her, she could have cursed out. She found a way to get at her, and she ain't hurt her. And even when you look, it looked like she had ribbons that let her know exactly where to cut. So I don't really see none. It'd have been way worse if she slapped her in the mouth or something. That's just me though.
That's a good point, because I was wondering about that kid's response, because she didn't. Part of the reason why I guess I wasn't as distressed as I could have been was the child didn't seem that distressed. Like, she seemed like this was just run of the mill. Like, this is just what she does. I just didn't like the camera in your face bit, but she didn't seem very bothered. She seemed more like, what are you doing? Like, why would you do that right now? Like, it didn't seem very, like, I remember the fights I used to have with my parents, and if I did not want something to be done, there was no debating it. Like, it was all over me. I was acting it out. So I don't know. It does make me want, especially after you said that, it makes me wonder if it was just like a thing they put on for the internet.
Yeah. People are very susceptible to what they see on camera. It don't take much to convince somebody that this is what's happening when all of this is staged. when I first saw it, all I could think was she seems like she's reading off of a script. I think it's corny. I think it's very distasteful for one to even put your child on camera like that. Uh, there's too many perverts, and the dark web is real. The sickness that's within a lot of these men and women out here, it exists, and you're jeopardizing the safety of your loved ones by exposing them to things that you just can't see. Like you don't even really know who's watching you. All you see is a number count, but you don't know who's behind that number. So I'm with y'all on that, Robert, as well. Like some stuff shouldn't even be here in the first place. However, this is the main point of the video. Where we see folks disagree with parenting all the time. Oh, you're too aggressive. You shouldn't hit them. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. That's what the main focus of this is. What is too much? What is too extreme? What is not doing enough? And where do you draw the line? You know what I'm saying? I personally, I don't think cutting hair is going to get the point across. Like if I know my child, that's not going to do it. You have to meet them where they are. Like I think there's like with My Wife and Kids. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that show. He had a way of getting his message across to his children based on the child themselves, based on their personality. He didn't have to really stone cold stun them or tombstone power drive them to make a point, but he knew how to deliver his message effectively too. So I mean, as far as disciplining concerned, that's where I'm at. Just a little more, but I just want to get y'all take on it because everybody got their own like stance on it. I personally think you can whoop your kids. I'm going to. I'm not saying that I'm going to run them over or no crazy shit like that, but you're definitely going to get your ass beat. Respectfully, though, you know. I don't need no disrespectful. You don't know how to talk to your adults. I'm not having that. You're not about to be calling me every single day at work because you mouthy and nah. But I digress.
I mean, I don't think like that'd be a case by case analysis. We in a new day where people negotiate with their kids. They give them options. They let them talk how they want. Say what they want to say. They let them. And a lot of times, I don't know if it be guilt or whatever, but most of the time it's how they was raised. So in this new day, you got to be kind of different. I had read John Locke one time, and the only thing I agree with that he said you should beat your kids when they lie or steal. Like other than that, that's kids being kids, woody woo. So I'm definitely kind of for the spare the rod, spoil the child, but within reason. And it's easy to everybody say it until they have their own kids. Oh, I ain't gonna spoil my kids. I ain't gonna do this and I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna have it like this and that. But then when they get their kids, it'd be like a whole different call and response. So I don't know, you know what I'm saying? First of all, if or when I have children, if I do whatever, and I do have children, but of my own. First of all, I'm not putting them on social media because a lot of times y'all on social media all the time. Only time you get a lot of hearts on your social media is when you show your family, which makes me feel like people are nosy and they head ain't in the right place. Because if the only time you hit the heart is when you see my wife, that's a problem to me because I'm advertising every day. You know what I'm saying? As far as my kids though, no, I don't. First of all, I wouldn't ideally put my kids on social media. And then second, I wouldn't let my kids have social media until they probably 10, 15 years old to where they could process this stuff. As far as discipline, every parent and child has their own style. And I'm from the old school to where you gotta let your kids know that you're not playing with them. And when you say deep, oh, I'm gonna let my kids know, you seem like the type of person that where your kids won't even have that problem because you appear respectful. You are a hardworking individual. You have good morals and values. So I don't even see a kid coming out, you know what I mean, having those kind of issues. Now, of course, kids are gonna be kids or whatever, but a lot of times, what I noticed as a teacher, the kids with the parents who are there, they know how to separate themselves. Not saying that they won't get into a little bit of mischief or with here and there, but the kids with the parents that are really teaching them, they separate themselves when it gets bad. You know what I'm saying? Or from the bad decision makers, they know. And what's cool about it too, what I noticed, where there was so much peer pressure, the peer pressure don't even affect them because they know when to step to the side. Like they might hang out with the bad kids or whatever, but when it's time to take care of that business or when the bad kids is doing that, they know when to step to the side. So a lot of that is parenting. So, you know, with this one right here, with her cutting the hair, it seemed like clickbait. And it could have really affected the baby, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, that's not something uh I would have put on social media unless I wanted to go viral.
It also depends. It kind of going off of what you're just saying. It also very much depends on the kid themselves, because as every parent, every teacher will come to find, every single kid is different, and there are certain kids that just happen to be the troublemakers. No matter what you do, they just are more mischievous. They're more interested in inciting arguments and pulling pranks and doing the things that are out there to get attention and stuff like that. And then there's some kids that are just more withdrawn. They're more interested in being to themselves. They're more like sensitive. And you can't use the same style of punishment across the board on every single kid, even in the same with the same kid on different days, because sometimes they'll be in states where they're just be more sensitive and you can't use those types of things on them in that moment. For example, my son is he's very soft and shy and sensitive. He doesn't like when you get loud with him. He doesn't like if you are like if he thinks he's gonna get smacked or something, he immediately will stop what he's doing and recoil. Whereas my daughter is very much like, I don't care. I'm going to look at you in the face and do the thing while I do, and be proud of it. And then after she's done, and she's proud of herself for having broke the rules. Yeah. And she's like, look at me. So it really does depend on the kid too, because you can have kids that they'll do something wrong because they either got swept up into it or they made a mistake or they didn't know any better or whatever, like it was an accident. And as soon as you find out, they're mortified. They're absolutely repentant. They'll never do it again. They'll never make that type of mistake again. But then you have other kids that are like, that was fun. I'm going to do that over and over again. So it really, in terms of punishments and when to use them, how to use them, which ones to use, it really, really is a give and take between you and the child. You really have to adjust based on the situation, what they did, how frequent it is, how frequent the child's acting out, whether they were sick or tired or whatever, because there's often times where you don't even need to use punishment, even if they've done this thing that's bad. So for all we know, this could be a regular thing that she does to her daughter, which is why her daughter wasn't responding the way that she was. But as I forgot who said it, I agree that this is not going to be effective. There's very few situations that I could foresee would be beneficial to do that. I could see certain circumstances if you have a daughter that's very fashion oriented, look oriented, like her, like maybe she's going out frequently and like her whole personality is based around her appearance or something, and she sneaks out at night to go to this event, or like I don't know, like if she's very appearance focused, I could see that being kind of an effective technique, like, oh, you did this, so I'm going to take away this thing that you care about. But in many other circumstances, I just don't think it would match the crime. Because in my understanding, or at least what I follow for parenting, you want the punishment to, in a way, mirror the real life consequences of whatever they did. So, for example, if the child, like, I don't want to eat the dinner and I'm going to throw it on the floor and make a huge mess, then, okay, you don't get to eat. Like, I'm not going to make you something different just because you want to be difficult and not eat. Like, obviously, I'm not going to drag this out and be like, you're not going to eat for a week. Like, you have to be realistic. If you throw your dinner on the floor, you're going to be hungry for a night. It's abuse when it extends beyond the necessary parameters of that punishment. But there's also times when those punishments don't work. So, like, if my kid decides to throw a fit and I don't know, this is a really bad example, but like he's being really frustrated, so I'm going to lock him in the room with the TV on. Like that's not going to do anything. He's just going to start acting out in the future because he's like, cool, I can get what I want. Some parents might see that if they have a child that's very reclusive, the child will enjoy getting sent to their room and they'll act out just so they can get sent out of the room. So you have to really adjust the punishment to match the situation, to match the real life outcome, so that they can learn in the future that when they do this as an adult, there will actually be real life consequences. You can't just act out and expect everyone to be like, oh, what was that? I didn't see anything. So that's really part of parenting and punishing kids, is it's showing them the real life consequences of behaviors that they might experience in the real world. So being sent to the room, like going to jail, having things taken away is like, oh, you didn't pay your bills, so now you don't have food in the fridge. So yeah, in her circumstance, I don't, she was punishing her for what? I can't remember if she specified what she was punishing her daughter for. But if I remember correctly, I thought it was like either talking out of turn or being disrespectful or something like that. I just don't see how that would relate to cutting someone's hair off. Like, I'd have to go back and hear what she was punishing her for, but I just can't relate those to the punishment with whatever her daughter supposedly did as being effective going into the future.
So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play it one more time because I still have it, and it'll give you a better understanding of like what the problem actually was allegedly. What I will say is, and you brought up a good point. When you're a child, you don't really have any limitations. Your imagination is everywhere. Like, I remember very clear. I thought I could go to the moon. My rocket ship was my table downstairs in the dining room. I used to go underneath it and imagine I was going to Mars and all types of stuff. I had whole Star Trek, The Next Generation adventures underneath that table. When you're a child, you don't know the severity of reality outside of these walls when you're an adult versus when you're a child. The transition from child to adult is not as simplistic as people think it is. That's why you got a lot of grown men and women who still act like they're in high school right now, because they didn't make the transition from childhood to adulthood like the right way. And I think that is one of the biggest issues with
If you ever want to see how much adults can be like children, just watch arrest videos. You'll see adults dissolving into petulant childlike tantrums so fast when they're getting arrested, especially when they're like intoxicated or something. Like if it's from a car, they're always like, no, I didn't do anything, just let me go home. No. Like that is exactly what a 4-year-old sounds like when they want to go and do something and you won't let them.
I just did a reaction video. I ain't dropped it yet. The woman was pretending to be a UPS worker. I don't know how she got the truck. I don't know how she got the uniform. The vehicle was parked in a neighborhood for 8 hours. And this lady was walking from door to door, casing people's houses. The police came, confronted her. She tried to play it off like, oh, I'm just doing a study. I'm just filming a documentary. When they brought her to the car, they patted her down and everything. Guess what? She had a gun on her and everything. Found out she was a felon. And like she tried to act like, oh, I didn't know what was going on. And as soon as they put them cuffs on her, guess what she did? She pretended like she was having a seizure. I mean,
Did they guys see this one?
She tried to commit to it. She fell to the ground and everything, bro. The cop was like, man, I've seen better performances. Get your ass up. You going to jail. So yeah, adults really do be like that for real.
There was another one of a teacher that got caught at work drinking. Like she showed up to work already drunk, and they gave her so many opportunities throughout the whole, like it was like 45-minute exchange between, there's the superintendent or the principal and then the police officer, and they're saying like, look, if you just have your husband come pick you up, you can go home. Like, we just need you to go and we won't press charges like if you leave. She finally gets to the point where they're like getting her in handcuffs because they've already breathalyzed her and everything like that. And then she's like, can I just call my husband to go home? And they're just like, ma'am, we have been asking you this for half an hour. You really think that we're now going to do this after you've tested 3 times the limit? Like, no. Too late. Get in the car. You're getting arrested. You made your decision a long time ago by not cooperating. So, same kind of behavior.
All you got to do is tell a person no. You'll see what they have.
That's a bar.
Bang, 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 bang.
let me bring this up here real quick. Let's see if this is the right one. All right. So I'm gonna play this one more time for the people who didn't get a chance to see it, and just to give you a better understanding of what the actual crime in question was.
No physical discipline. Mom, don't mom me. No. You had your warning. You had your chance. I told you to listen. I told you stop disobeying my rules. I told you being cute ain't shit. If you have no education, I told you stop disobeying me. I told you to listen and do as you're supposed to. I told you to do good in school. I told you to do your daily routine, and you yet to even do any of it. And you thought you were disobeying me today, and I was not coming to cut this hair off. You're sadly mistaken, because you thought being pretty was so much better than being educated or listening to your mom, right? Yes, this is what happens when you don't listen to your mom. Do you feel like I abused you? No. Do you feel like this form of discipline was a lot better than any other form of discipline, like physical abuse, that I could have used? Yes. You know I love you, right? Yes. You know I got your back, right? Yes. You know what I'm doing right now is to make you a better person, right? Yes. How many times have I spoken to you about this? A lot of times. How many times have your teachers called me? Multiple times. How many times have you not handed in homework? A few times. Funny that you guys all took it upon yourself, over thousands of people, to pick up the phone and call the police on me.
There you have it.
Low-key, she should be a little bit happy that people care that much about her daughter. Like, parents should feel grateful when the internet is so concerned about their child that they're willing to step in, because that does show you how many good people are out there, how many good people are willing to stand up for people that are being mistreated. But yeah, it was not easier to watch the second time.
No. I want to know what was your point of putting it on the internet and then making her stare in the camera and answer all of those questions like that?
Also, I want to know how many takes that was. Like, did she just have her in front of the camera multiple times? Like, hold on, I didn't jostle your head enough. Let me reset. Like,
Y'all got me crying.
Yo, cause like, people really be thirsty for validation and attention, bro. It's sad.
Yeah. Listen, I'd rather that than us slapping them. You know what I'm saying? That looked like an easier punishment than some of the punishments I got. You know what I'm saying? And that can grow back. Again, posting it. That's the whole mix. Again, like you said too, Cindy. You don't post nothing like that. Like, if I did that, I might keep it in the archive. And if my daughter act up again, I'd be like, look, you want to go there again? That's where you want to go? Woo-woo. But on my Instagram, like, now I'm very, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I do have children who I love very much. Love y'all, especially when y'all see this. I make sure that if I do post y'all, it's within the safety, you know, all parameters are safe, not to endanger nobody, and I make sure that I have their parents' permission and all of that. Because I'm sensitive about that anyway, to where I don't know if that's such a good thing. I'm glad I didn't have social media, because I know I wouldn't be here. For real, I already know. And as far as discipline, again, that ain't something maybe tell friends, because peer pressure is real too. Now, to be, you know, to play the devil's advocate, peer pressure is real. And whoever's friends or whoever she's engaging with and influence her to get these phone calls from the teachers and all that, they could be like, wow, because the one thing that I do know is when it comes to teaching kids, the difference maker is the parents. You know what I'm saying? Like, when the parents don't play, the kids learn. Now, it might be a little class clown or whatever, with strict parents. And a lot of times that is because they have strict parents. That's a lot of time only chance they get to have a little outlet. But it's a difference between working, like going to be funny and just being mischievous. And I have to learn a little more every year that kids are mischievous. So she could be doing her child a big service to let even the peers know, like, listen, this is my child, and this is not finna happen. Like, you're not finna do this. And this is on the light end because, you don't see the videos. You don't see the videos. I done seen the videos of parents knocking children out, and I done seen the videos of children knocking their parents out. You know what I'm saying? So this could be light on the spectrum to where, yeah, I'm not playing with you. You know what I'm saying? And everybody does need to see this. I could kind of see that a little bit to where, like, yo, you're going to be stopped because I care. And I just don't trust the clickbait thing, but I could definitely see this like, yo, you know what? Everybody that you was stunting in front of, they're going to see this, and this is the least I could do.
Let me ask y'all a question because it just kind of hit me, right? For me, when I interact with my coworkers and I go to the store and I purchase my favorite beverages and juices and whatever, I get taken back to the 5th grade, the 6th grade, and I think about comparing my experience in middle school versus my experience as an adult doing the 8 hours. And what I've found for myself is that they're not that different when you really think about it, right? In high school and elementary, you had teachers who favored students, you had cliques, you had different communities of personalities in different parts of the cafeteria. And then you look at your adult life, it's not really that different at all. You do what, 12 years in school. If you decide to go to college, that's something else. The work ethic is study, good grades. If you get good grades, you get stickers, gold stars, you get awards. When you're on the job, you get promotions, possibly, et cetera, et cetera. But when you're in school, you get called a nerd. You get called this, that, and the third for wanting to achieve greatness. When you're on the job, you get called a kiss ass, or you get called a Uncle Tom, or it's called nepotism. And like the parallels between school and adulthood is so similar. Do you think that most parents or adults teach this to their children? And if not, why not?
Teach what though?
Well, show them, look, what you got going on right now as a kid is basically what you're going to be dealing with as an adult. And you're going to have to understand that the things that I'm trying to set you up for right now is designed to prepare you for what you're going to deal with when you get older. You're going to be dealing with this multiplied, but it's going to come with different situations and scenarios. I don't think adults, or I don't think parents are putting that reality into their kids. Like, this is real.
This is something that will definitely have to be a whole nother episode. But this is one of the things that I've always felt is one of the insufficiencies of the academic system is that it focuses heavily on academic skills, but it doesn't focus on any other form of skills. And so kids are coming away with math and writing with no understanding of how to apply it anywhere. They just know how to do the action, but they don't actually know how to use it in geology and physics and astronomy and astrophysics and all these other topics. They just haven't been they haven't been taught how to make the jump and how to utilize what is being taught. But again, that's a whole nother tangent I could go on, so I won't start that.
I think they try. The question is, does it work? And then also the question is, and I gotta say this right, do the kids respond to your parenting? Like, they try, like even the blood raw ones, you know what I'm saying? I see, like, they curse their kids out, tell them straight up, you better do this, you better do that, da 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 da. And they telling them right, like they telling them from what they know. But it depends on how much you expose your kids to. Do you negotiate?
People also approach kids as if they're just mini adults. Like, people don't understand how to adjust the language to match the age and development level that of the kid they're talking to. Because you're gonna have to talk to a 2-year-old very differently than you're gonna have to talk to a 5-year-old or an 8-year-old or a 12, 15, 17. Like, they need different things from you when they're these different ages. And I think, like, parents just don't know enough about kids in general, like how kids work and psychology works and the mental processes and stuff like that. I think we ourselves have been so anti-socialized by technology that we just don't know what to do with weird behaviors because we've never really confronted them. Because most of the time, if you're on social media, your confrontations are just going to be texting angry words with big caps and exclamation points. But when we're confronted by somebody that's like throwing stuff at our face because they're upset that they don't want to eat the chicken that you made for dinner, we're like, stop. Okay, that didn't work. Go to your room. Okay, that didn't work. Like, people don't understand how experimental parenthood is until they're actually in parenthood. It's very much learning a science and a process that you don't have a manual to, and you never will have a manual to. So it involves a lot of external skills that you would never anticipate would be required for parenting. So I think that's one of the things I think people misunderstand or misrepresent about education is education doesn't just make us better as in a career. It makes us better in every sense. It makes us better parents. It makes us better friends to other people. It makes us better spouses to the people that we're married to, because as you develop your own education, you start to understand how other people are also seeing the world around you. You're able to realize that education is realizing that your perspective is not the only one that exists, is realizing that every single person, every single being has a different reality than you do. And it's just understanding the commonness between those realities. And once you've started to realize that, it really changes how you can interact with people. It makes you a better listener. It makes you better at dealing with conflict, at handling people that are being aggressive at you, who are not able to rationalize in the moment. It makes all of that so much easier, which is why it's very unfortunate that so many people are denied an actual education or a reasonable education, I guess, because it can improve us in so many different ways that we don't really comprehend until we've actually achieved it for ourselves. So all that's to say that as parents, we're kind of obligated to continue exploring and understanding not only ourselves, but our children and the world and how the world works, because all of that is applied to how our child grows. The more you understand about the world, the better you are able to help your own child grow. That woman, she possibly can improve her child's situation with her punishment as long as she also uses other tactics along with it. She can't just cut her kid's hair and being like, all right, that's it. Now you have to change. It's up to you. Because that is not how a young child learns and develops. She has to help her child develop those habits for herself. So she was saying in the video, you aren't being good in school, like you aren't doing your work, you're not turning your homework in, whatever. So she now needs to step in and walk her child through the process of, okay, we're going to establish a schedule for yourself because clearly something isn't working. So we need to get you a schedule. We need to set up a system of like catch nets. So like, oh, well, at the end of the night, we'll go over what your assignments were. Did you do everything? We need to make sure everything's in your backpack and is put away. Maybe before you go to school, then you double check your backpack to make sure you have everything. So parents, because kids don't have that life experience yet, we have to use our external knowledge to help them build their own reality because they're not at the stage where they can do that for themselves yet. So parenting is very much telling your child to do things as much as it is showing your child how to do it for themselves as well. And so I think that's kind of where parenthood is going wrong in a lot of circumstances, is you have some parents that just think to tell their child to do something and they're like, what? My child's not doing what I'm telling them to do. What now? I don't know, because that's all they know. That's all they know is commanding. And when that doesn't work, they're like, punishment maybe. But for those that have figured out that you work with your child and that you kind of build the environment around the child, so it almost like with scaffolding, almost like it kind of holds the child up, they do much better because it becomes routine through their childhood to act adultish. And so when they finally become an adult, it's not this like huge, crazy, like you get kicked out of the house and now you're like, wait, I have to find an apartment that's $1,500 a month and I don't even have a job and I don't even know how to get a job and I don't even like, we can't just throw our kids out there. We really have to offer a model for them. Like we really have to be that model for them. And we use punishments along the way to kind of make sure they stay on the path. But the punishment shouldn't be the model. And I think that's kind of where a lot of people are at, where the punishment itself is the model rather than it being a tool.
I look at it, every kid, just like a family member, push their parents' buttons a different way and get a total different response. You could read 50,000 books. You could watch 50,000 videos, newscasts. You could listen to everybody, but you're going to do what you want with your child, and that's going to be the way, even having good parents. The better thing is that if you did have good parents who provided structure and all that, you would probably have a better foundation to build on. But what I see from most people, first, they don't like to tell their kids no. And that becomes a problem. And then also, I was looking at it for children of color. A lot of times in our community, we breed fear. We teach fear. We teach our children to be fearful of everything, and we lead by threatening this and that. So with that, you know, every case is totally different, right? And I see it every day where parents negotiate, and I'm in my head like, oh, I ain't finna do all this and all that. I give an example of most children that I've seen raised up got hungry when it was time to go to bed. I don't care from 5 to 15. They know it's their curfew. They might wait to eat. You know it's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Time to go to bed. You want a peanut butter and jelly, huh? You want some pizza, huh? And you try to break that, but they got these responses. And like I said, what I'm noticing today is parents give children a lot of options and choices, and they want to let them be free. I guess the double-edged sword is that if they're of color or if they come from a impoverished community, then they cannot have the same freedoms that other children have. And that's where I see a lot of parents getting caught up, because you want your children to feel free. You do not want your children to say, you don't want to have to tell your kids how to get arrested because they got skin color, or they speak Spanish, or they speak Chinese. You don't want to tell your kids they can't run around the store because of the color of their skin, or they might be followed around, or you gotta watch for the police, everything you do, right? So you want to teach them how to be free, but we know that there's a double standard in this community, in this country, and that affects a whole lot of people to where, okay, I'm free, but to what extent? So I think that hinders a lot of parents too, because you get caught up in where I want to teach how far can I go with my baby because at the end of the day, I want my baby to come home safe. So the discipline has to change around those things. But I think that the biggest problem I've seen with parents, and that I don't think I would have a problem with, but I probably would, because I know it changes when you see the baby's face, is that you don't want to tell them no. You know what I'm saying? You just don't want to tell your baby no like that. You don't want to see them crying. You don't want to see them in pain. You don't want it, so you want to save them. Oh, you got to go up the steps. I'm going to carry him up the steps. You want to cry? Let me see whatever I could do to get you to stop from crying. Where we was old school to where a lot of times when we just cried till we fall asleep because they ain't, you know what I'm saying? They wasn't stunting that, but I don't know if that was good or bad. So, to your question, it's that whatever you develop with your child from the time they come to the womb, that's how they gonna react. Like I said, for that right there, she ain't punch her in the face, she ain't curse her out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, like I said, to her defense, you did cut him on camera, and that could, like I said, that could be for the peers or whatever. But at the same time, it looked so that was clickbait, and I could see her saying, "Baby, I'm gonna cut your hair off real quick. Don't worry, I need you to act surprised. Woo, woo, woo. We're gonna get this." You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like I said, with the way socials are right now, if it don't start like that, like I'm definitely not until they old enough to understand, or if they parents put them on social media, then you know what I mean. I'm definitely a no for any kind of thing like that, because now you got people talking to and about your child that don't know you from a can of paint. You know what I'm saying? People responding. Now you got to think about this, and then you get to the school. Woo, woo, woo. So that could be a good thing, but that could also be bad.
I gave an example earlier. The argument was it was about behavior patterns, right? Maybe I can give further clarification on this back and forth I had. So the way that I wanted to present this was there are always options. In a situation where Carmelo Anthony and Metcalf came to this crossroads, my position was there were choices. You could run, walk away from the potential danger that's right here, go talk to an adult and allow the adults to do what is necessary in this situation, mitigating any danger that could have came from this. B, you could throw blows with the gentleman, win, lose, or draw. Or C, well, you know what C was. And my man's position was, well, Metcalf and his brother, they could have done the same thing. They could have gone to get an adult to do exactly what you're saying Carmelo could have did. Now, here's the twist. My position was, well, if what people are saying is true, and this is where this comes in the full fold, if he's the bully, like everyone is trying to say he is, a bully is not going to think about going to get an adult. Bullies are emotionally detached from handling situations the way a logical person would. So that's not even on the table for someone like that. You know what I'm saying? And that brings me to my next position with what you just said and what Sydney said. Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man. I love movie references because some of them have real messages in them. Spider-Man was just now discovering his powers, but he was still broke. He was trying to find out how to make money. So there was a flyer. Go wrestle Macho Man. If you can survive in the ring with Macho Man for 3-4 minutes, you get $5,000. So he does it. He survives the match. The owner, he goes to see him. All right, I did what I was supposed to. Oh well, you didn't last for X amount of time, so you're only going to get what, $50? What? $50? You promised me 5,000. Not my problem. All right, Peter Parker was like, all right, cool. So he leaves. He's walking to the elevator. Who gets off the elevator? Nobody knew this at the time. The person who gets off the elevator is the same guy who's about to rob the owner. So he goes, rob the owner, runs back to the elevator where Peter Parker is. The owner is looking at Spider-Man like, hey, you, stop him. What happened? Why you let him get away? Spider-Man is like, oh, you looking at me? You looking at me? The same person you just said, oh, it's not my problem. Oh, I'm gonna tell you the same thing. It's not my problem. But even with him being petty, guess what happens? The same person who robbed him killed his uncle. So I say all that to say this: when you're not being a role model, when you're not cultivating this infrastructure for your loved ones, this is what happens. It's a ripple effect. You might not think it's going to directly affect them, but it absolutely does. And that's why I love that reference so much, because he could have saved his uncle. Yeah, you didn't get the money, but your uncle would still be alive. And a criminal would have went to jail. But your feelings and your emotions got in the way of that. All because somebody did wrong by you. the fact of the matter is you can't control how people are going to treat you. You still have to hold yourself to a certain standard. And that's where people lose the plight, period. So as far as the mom and what she did on camera, I don't agree with it. That shouldn't have been on camera. Now, if you want to handle that situation, handle it off camera. And like, I'm not going to tell you how to do things, but yeah, I don't agree with that. But that's all I wanted to add to that, because I think you both said some exceptional things here. Very, very exceptional thoughts on this whole situation. And
You know what I want to spin on though? Which wild is how social media even influences parenting now. That's like we wouldn't have never thought of, bro. We ain't have to where, like she said, oh, y'all call the police on me and they ain't come. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? We from that era, like, yo, you tell your child, man, call the police, man. If they come, pack your bag and meet them at the door. I'm not finna play with you. You know what I'm saying? And whether it was right or wrong, like it was a whole totally different to where now you gotta, like, you could be influenced so much to where let me look and see how social media tell me what to do. Like, yo, that's a whole nother world. You know what I'm saying? Like, and maybe in some cases it could be a good thing, but I think sometimes,
It makes me. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say what you said makes me think of something I just saw another influencer talking about last night. She did an episode on the ridiculousness of the birthdays that people are putting on for their kids. Nowadays, like the TikTok birthdays and stuff, where they put in like thousands and thousands of dollars for like a 2-year-old birthday party when they have like balloons and a whole like car train set and trampolines, and they go all out for these like really insignificant birthdays. I mean, arguably insignificant. But she was saying that this is going to cause problems to people that think that that's what they need to do for their kids. They think that that is what everyone else is doing. The child is going to see this and be like, oh, well, my friends are getting that, so you need to do that for me. And we're going to have this culture of like parents going into debt to show out just for their kids because they don't want their kids to have to be exposed on social media as being poor. So it's kind of affecting us across the board, just from everything from vacations to birthday parties to discipline to schooling to how we decorate our own houses. Like people are doing everything based on what social media tells them to do. I don't know if you like have seen the trend now where literally everyone has like white and gray furniture, black scale paintings in their houses, and like everyone has the same damn decor in their houses. Like I don't know what it is, why everyone wants to be so mute and grayscale. But like as soon as it's a trend, everyone has to do it, and then everyone has the same house, the same car, the same everything. We're heading to what was it? SpongeBob, where like they all had the same house and they're all dressed the same way and they all said the same thing. And it was like the Squidward future episode, I think. I'm probably also mixing it up with some other like dystopian futuristic movies, but we're like heading to the same future. We're all just gonna be like, hi Bob, how are you? Oh, I'm good. I'm going to work. Yeah, that's great. I'll see you later. Like it's quite creepy to see people just turning into everyone else.
is it really a shocker?
No.
That's exactly why I said that I realized it for myself during this conversation. When I was a kid, I I was blurring the lines of adulthood and childhood. It was kind of like, what are you getting me into? Kids in the sixth grade are having sex, smoking and drinking. Nobody's telling me about any of this stuff. I didn't learn about a lot of that until I hit 10, 11, 12. I just saw people doing it. I saw you doing it. I'm still watching Power Rangers, and y'all think I'm weird because I'm still into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But I think something wrong with you because you out here smoking water. What you doing with boat? What you doing with heroin and all that crap? You know what I'm saying? Like for real. I I was still innocent, but so I had to adjust to this stuff. Like, God, rest in peace to my grandmother and my pops and all of them. But like, nobody was telling me and showing me, you're gonna have to make these adjustments while you're young going into your adulthood. I had to figure that stuff out myself. And that's what I think is happening with a lot of children, a lot of teenagers. So,
I mean, you look at it like, bro, you know what it all right. The the hardest thing I had to realize now is nobody put a gun to my head and made me do all that stuff. And you're absolutely right. I was watching Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant, Ninja Turtles, X-Men, but at the same time, I was outside trying to prove I could be grown. I was trying to prove I could be tough. You know what I'm saying? Um, and a lot of times, my parenting was more threats. If I catch you doing this, I'm gonna do that. If I catch you doing this, and da 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 da. And now that I realize, you know what? They told me right. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. Like, or you don't want to do this because this gonna happen. Like, they ain't give me choices or whatever. Ideally, in my head, that probably would have worked. But at the same time, I can't say that nobody didn't tell me. You know what I'm saying? If you do this, you're gonna get this. And I can remember in my head, even from the teachers, like, man, you don't know me, you don't know where I'm from. Woo woo. You can't tell me this and that, da da da. And then I looking at my parents, looking at my big brother, man, I'm smarter than you. You don't know me, man. What you talking about? I ain't gonna. And I remember, this is what I do remember, going and messing up and getting the results that they told me I was going to get. And I laugh now because as much as I want to sit here and be like, oh, nobody told me and I ain't have nobody and I ain't had this and that. Nah, somebody told me, even if it was the OG on the corner. So, yo, little youngin', this is how you need to be. Da, 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 da. And I can remember walking off like, yeah, all right. You know what I'm saying? Everything you tell me, when they say this could be you, I felt like it couldn't be me. So now, you know what I'm saying? I had to pay the cost, pay the price, and in a lot of ways, I'm gonna pay for the rest of my life for the decisions I made. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't mad. I'm not mad at all. That's the path I chose. What I'm looking at now is how that's even more pressure on children because back in the days, we had to walk to see the body. And I think I might have said this a couple of weeks ago. Now you could scroll and see everything you want right there. You know what I'm saying? 4, 5, 6 years old, 3 years old. And at this day too, a kid could show you how to use your phone better than you. So, you know, where in Harlem, if we wanted to get to the action, we had to walk to it. Tallahassee, if you wanted to see something, whatever, you had to go to it. You had to go see where it's at. See where it's at. Like, get your big cousin and get so and so. But now you could scroll your finger and see anything you want. And if your parents are not supervising, if they're not putting the controls. If they don't have the location finder on you, even in the schoolhouse, the kids, one of our biggest problems at the schoolhouse is getting the kids to put their phone in a basket. And we argue all the time because, like, I had funny story. I had one kid, he picked up the phone and he said, I said, what are you doing? And he said, well, you know, I'm calling so. I said, man, you could have called Applebee's and I ain't know that. And then you ain't ordering me no food. And he kind of thought about it like to where it's like, oh, you know what? No, you got to let me know who you calling. You can't just call off campus like that. You can't just use your phone. You can't be texting. And they don't comprehend that. And then that now at the same time too, the parents, they want you to have a phone. And a lot of times I'm not mad, but especially with the school shootings and all that, you want your kid to have a phone. So right now we got to have a balance because the pressures are, I'm gonna say, tenfold now compared to what we have. Because again, you could look up anything you want, and it's not restricted. And most parents, I'm gonna give to their defense, they working. They don't have time to police everything you looking at. They don't have time to, you know, you trust your children. You want to trust your children. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you know what? My kid don't do this and that, da 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 da. But what I did, what I'm learning over the years, especially looking at myself in the mirror, kids are mischievous. The problem comes when the kid wants to hurt people versus when the kid just want to be the class clown.
Have you seen your kids in class doing the absence scroll? Like, I've seen videos of kids sitting in school who don't have their phones on them, and they're sitting there and their fingers just like this, as if they have a phone in their hand, because they are so used to doing it all the time that they're just sitting there unconsciously doing that.
Right, and we had that discussion too, because I tell them, yo, I'm addicted to my phone. And they laugh, and I'm like, yo, your phone is like drugs. And they look at me like I'm crazy. Like, I'm like, look at you. You can't. And I said, I get it, because I throw my phone across the room like I'm about to take a 10-minute break. And in 2 minutes, I'm going to get it. If whatever I do, I'm checking my phone first. Like, I'm checking my phone like I'm getting money. I ain't got $1 yet. I'm checking my email all day. I'm checking my social. In my head, I'm getting this bread. It's coming.
It's like sitting there, not even looking at it, just pressing the button because it's there.
I'm talking about, so when I watch them come in, it's like, yeah, I say power off your phone. I'm powering it off. Put it in their book bag. They gotta check it to make sure it's off. Then they gotta check it. Then they don't want to leave their book bag. And I'm like, yo, it's a drug. And we don't use drugs, Mr. Harris. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, yo, you don't understand what this phone is doing to you. And the only reason that they relate to me is because I said, listen, I got the same problem. You know what I'm saying? But you have to put it away only because in this environment, it's unlawful. Right? So I got it just as bad. But for the kids, though, it's way worse. So to where, okay, I feel you deep. I wouldn't put nothing like that online with my children, but I think if she was the, we got to see if that lady is, what do they call it, an influencer or a YouTuber or something. Because if she did that, that might be a good lesson for a lot of kids. And I could see some parents sitting there like, yeah, if you do that, I'm gonna cut your hair off too.
Mm-hmm.
You
That's
know?
what I was thinking too. That's exactly what I was thinking too. Lead by example. That people see you. I believe in public shame to a certain extent.
It changed a lot.
Yeah, I don't know about that though, because
I support you though. I support you though, because I feel where you coming from. It's my child. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's my child. So that's why it's like, you know, you gotta be Very careful. We got to be careful what we put online. You know what I'm saying? So to put your child out there, you know, because 10 years from now, 20 years from now, people still gonna be like, oh, you that baby that got your hair cut off. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't let stuff go. You know what I mean? And now in this era too, nothing gets erased. So this person might be known for that, whatever. So hopefully, whichever way it goes, the child is all right and she's not causing problems anymore. And hopefully the mother has some peace, because it you know, if nothing else, she was trying to get her child to do the right thing.
It's sad too, because in this day and age, things don't just not get forgotten, but they get remixed and reintroduced into society in various different ways. So even if you think your past is behind you, somebody will find that clip 16 years later, turn it into another viral clip, and you'll be re-famous all over again from that same situation you thought you got away from.
For free too.
The irony
free too. For no dough.
I mean, look at it. That, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that video was back in 2022, 23. Somebody started reposting it like this month, or probably sooner than that. So yeah, that's a fact. This is true. If there's anything like you would want to leave the audience off with in regards to this to close out, what would you say?
If you're going to punish your kid, don't post it online. Keep your discipline, keep your family life, keep your information, all of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes in your home between you and your family. Don't put yourself out there. As enticing as it might be to put yourself out there to gain a following and be famous, and the intoxicating feeling of being an influencer, not worth it. I have looked into the psychology of this. I've seen influencers, I've seen people that work for these companies, that run social media companies, all saying the same thing. They would not introduce their kids to social media. They would not put their kids on social media. They themselves would not join and be on social media because of how predatory it is and how saturated it is in individuals that are very unsavory. There's a lot of growing research to suggest a lot of the people that end up liking and distributing photographs of young people are within a certain alarming demographic. Come here. And it's not, what was I saying? It's not a safe environment. As much as we like to think this is an environment where we can meet our friends and meet our future coworkers, and you have this like fantasy world where you can interact with any person on the planet, that also means you're able to be in contact with any person that wants to take advantage of you or your family or your finances or your children. And in this day and age, you really, really don't want to give yourself out, put yourself out there in that sense, especially when you're broadcasting a vulnerable stage of your child's life and something that could come back and bite them in the future. I have a very complicated view of social media. Obviously, I use social media, and if you watch the show, you've seen my kids on social media. But it is something that you have to be very careful with. I've never been a fan of showing children in emotionally vulnerable situations, and to me, that is a line. That's one of those lines that I wouldn't be crossing. And that's something that every parent should keep in mind, especially when their child is old enough to have a family group outside or friend group outside of the home. So in general, I would highly recommend not putting your discipline tactics online. I would highly recommend not putting your child's vulnerable moments online. And I would overwhelmingly discourage people from putting children online in general, especially if it involves giving information about them and what they have been doing or what they are involved in. Um, that being said, it is still important to discipline your children. It's also not good to be on the other end of the spectrum and not have any discipline for your kids, letting them run rampant and be crazy people and a pain on society. But yeah, there are definitely ways to do so in a empathetic and understanding manner that build on your child's success rather than denigrating them and freaking out people on the internet.
I think teach your babies the difference between entertainment and real life. I'm gonna say that. Teach your babies the difference between entertainment and real life, and show them the consequences of good choices and bad choices. And like you said, Deep, more important, you got to be a role model. And if you going to be an influencer and that's the plan with your child, then make it just that. We're gonna do this for clickbaits. Everything else, keep it to yourself, man. Especially your children, especially now. Keep. I'm learning. You got to keep people out your business, man. Straight like that, and let your kids know that social media is fake. That's that.
I want to say thank you, Sydney, Rob, for pulling up. This was an amazing show, man. Loved it. Perfect way to go back into the work week. Fresh mind. I ain't cluttered with nothing. And quite frankly, we don't have these kind of conversations enough on the internet, on YouTube, or on these platforms as it is. So this is refreshing for me. I hope you guys have a blessed week. As far as the viewers, I thank you guys for being here with us, for joining the discussion. If you enjoy these conversations, there are dozens more directly on my YouTube channel where we talk about everything. And I have my side quest, my reactions to things that I talk about with the celebrities and the other podcasts. Tap in, you'll know what I'm talking about. I got stuff right now that is crazy, unbelievable. There's a stream that I'm going to be doing on the oldest woman to survive the Tucson slaughter, basically, where they just wiped out that whole community in Black Wall Street, and she's the only African American woman to survive it. I'm going to be giving her flowers here real soon, so lock in.
When is that one?
Right, next Monday.
Oh,
next Monday.
I can do that. I had it scheduled for Saturday, but we can actually do that for Monday. I hadn't really decided because I didn't want to just rush and put it out there yet. But it's definitely a lock. So if you want to be a part of that, we can do that too.
I will be honored.
Absolutely.
But aside from that, we're about to get up out of here. happy Memorial Day again to everybody. Like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss any streams. Just in case we get glitches or stuff ain't working out. Elon Musk might be upset with me for something we said up here and he try to kick me off or whatever. But yeah,
You have to get some walkie-talkies, bitch.
I know, right? SM, appreciate you for tapping in. I hope you had a good Memorial Day. We're about to get up out of here though, but we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, Lord willing. Y'all be easy. Oh, by the way, I'm the only person that does this. So if you see anyone else doing it besides Joey Gladstone, I'm second behind him. No one else is doing that.
Yeah. Don't be biting.
Nah, but for real, y'all be easy, man. We up out of here.
Love.